Oracle ERP Cloud is one of the most commonly utilized ERP systems in the industry, but is it the right solution for you? I'm going to talk about that here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients through their digital transformation journeys. And Oracle has been working long and hard at their whole ERP application offering. Back in the early 2000s, Oracle acquired J.D. Edwards and PeopleSoft, Hyperion, and a number of other ERP-related systems. And also in the early 2000s, Oracle developed Fusion, which was a middleware intended to pull together all of these different applications they had acquired. And now with the migration to the cloud and with the evolution of Oracle Fusion, Oracle has completed its transition to the cloud, or at least it's in the process of completing its transition to the cloud. And so Oracle ERP Cloud really is a culmination of all of those efforts over the years. Now, Oracle is commonly compared to SAP. It's one of the most common options for the larger organizations and the more global and multinational types of organizations. But there's some distinct differences between SAP and Oracle, and I'm going to talk about Oracle in general, in particular how it relates to SAP as well as other ERP systems in the marketplace. So one of the biggest strengths of Oracle ERP Cloud, particularly if you're comparing Oracle to SAP, is its flexibility. In general, it's a product that, because it's been built via a best-of-breed acquisition model of acquiring all these different systems that I mentioned earlier, it's really taken the best of these different applications that it's developed, and it's created a very flexible offering. Not only is the software itself flexible in terms of the general capabilities it can provide to different types of organizations, but the whole Fusion middleware provides a certain amount of flexibility and gives you a lot of different options in terms of what types of systems you might bolt on to Oracle-based systems, even if those systems aren't Oracle-based. So in general, the functionality of the product itself, as well as the architecture with Oracle Fusion as the middleware, provides a lot of flexibility and options that other ERP providers generally aren't able to provide. So flexibility is something that's important to you if you're a nimble organization, you're growing quickly, you're multinational, you have diverse needs across your organization. Oracle can be a very good fit for you. Another strength of Oracle ERP Cloud is its breadth of capabilities. There's certain capabilities that the product is very strong at. So in addition to providing general broad capabilities that span financials and supply chain, manufacturing, warehouse management, performance management, human capital management, CRM, all the stuff that you might expect from an ERP system, there's a few different areas where Oracle ERP tends to be stronger than some of its competitors. One example is a function called CPQ. That's an acronym for Configure Price Quote. So if you're an engineer-to-order type of manufacturing organization or a make-to-order manufacturing organization, or perhaps you're a construction organization where you rely on different estimates and bids in order to sell your product, the CPQ capability is something that's very strong with Oracle. And what that does is it allows your sales team to not only sell your product or service, but it allows you to configure and quote a customizable or tailored offering to your customers. So if you're the type of organization that has that type of product where you would benefit from that, the CPQ capability can be very strong. Now, another area that Oracle is very strong is in its human capital management and talent management. So if you're an organization that might be looking at Workday or SuccessFactors, but you're also looking at potential ERP solutions, Oracle can be a great fit and a great alternative to SuccessFactors or Workday, simply because the capability is very strong, but it also integrates very nicely with the core Oracle ERP functionality. And then a third area that Oracle is very strong in functionality-wise is its general performance management, business intelligence, and reporting types of capabilities. So Oracle several years ago bought Hyperion, which is sort of a best-in-class financial reporting and consolidation type of tool. That's one example of capabilities that Oracle has built into its offering. In addition to that, it tends to be very strong, not just in terms of financial reporting, but also just general dashboards and general business intelligence and enterprise performance management. So if getting real clear visibility into your organization, quantitative visibility is very important, that's another strength of Oracle as well. So while on one hand, Oracle ERP Cloud has some broad capabilities, there are some areas where Oracle ERP Cloud is not yet mature, or at least not yet mature compared to its legacy on-premise counterparts. So one example is manufacturing. That's an area that Oracle ERP Cloud is not quite as far along as, say, JD Edwards, the on-premise JD Edwards manufacturing solution that has been around for decades now and had the benefit of plenty of R&D dollars over the years. Oracle is taking the best of JD Edwards and other manufacturing capabilities and moving those capabilities to Oracle ERP Cloud, but that's still very much a work in progress. So if you're a complex manufacturer, that's an area that I'd highly recommend you really dive into and understand what the strengths and some of the limitations are of Oracle ERP Cloud in that regard. And then another example is more complex supply chains. Companies that have global supply chains, complex supply chains, that's an area where there's still some limitations of the new cloud solution. So if that's an area that's important to you, I'd highly recommend diving into that area as well. So in general, it's important to recognize that Oracle ERP Cloud, while it has a breadth of capabilities, is not quite as strong in several areas, including the two I've mentioned here, as it relates to some of its legacy products like JD Edwards and Siebel and PeopleSoft, for example. I mentioned before how flexibility is one of the strengths of Oracle ERP Cloud, and along those same lines is its ability to integrate with third-party systems. And because of that Fusion middleware that Oracle spent so many years developing, in fact, it was often ridiculed for many years because it took so long for Oracle to develop that solution, it's really given them a leg up compared to some of its competitors now because it had invested so heavily in that product for so long. So it's allowed Oracle to do two things. One is it's allowed Oracle to take these applications that it's acquired over the years, like JD Edwards, Siebel, PeopleSoft, et cetera, and integrate them into a cloud-based offering that ties together as a more cohesive unit. Secondly, it allows better integration with third-party applications. So if there's some sort of system that you need, either for regulatory purposes or just because you want a best-of-breed capability that isn't offered by Oracle, that Fusion middleware can make it easier to bolt in systems that complement Oracle ERP Cloud. So if integration is something that's going to be important to you, if you know you're going to have legacy systems or third-party systems that are non-Oracle based, Oracle ERP Cloud can be a great tool set to help you do that. So I've talked a lot about the different moving pieces and moving parts of Oracle, and while that's generally a strength in that there's a lot of capabilities, a lot of flexibility, a lot of integration that can happen with the solution, it also creates a certain amount of technical complexity that can be overwhelming for some organizations to handle. So for example, if you're an organization that doesn't have a very sophisticated or robust IT capability in-house, or you don't have solution architects in-house that can help manage some of these moving pieces and integration points, then Oracle may not be the best fit for you. But if you have a robust IT staff, you have solution architects that can figure this stuff out, it may be a good fit for you. But either way, I'd highly recommend that you watch out for the common pitfall with Oracle implementations, which is oftentimes organizations get so caught up in just trying to manage all these moving parts and trying to make the technology work and fit together that they forget about the more important parts of the transformation, the things related to people and processes, so the non-technical aspects of the transformation. So even if you do have the capabilities to support the complexity of Oracle, the other risk there that you still want to mitigate if you do move forward with Oracle is to ensure that you have proper focus on those people and process areas. So just as is the case with every review I do, there are some pros and cons with Oracle, and hopefully I've helped you identify what those strengths and weaknesses are here. Whether or not it's the right fit for you as an organization, it really depends on your priorities, your needs, and what your objectives are. If you're a high-growth, flexible, nimble, entrepreneurial type of organization that values scale and flexibility and integration, it can be a great fit. If you're a company that values consistency and standardization and common business processes and simplicity from a technology perspective, Oracle may not be the best fit. So it's really a matter of weighing those strengths and weaknesses and those pros and cons and figuring out what the right priority is for your organization. In order to help you navigate the decision, I've also included a couple of links below that will help you. One is a download of our Guide to an Oracle ERP Implementation. So if you are considering Oracle, you might want to download that white paper. Or if you're not sure whether or not you want Oracle or whether you're still comparing Oracle to other systems out there, I highly encourage you to check out our 2020 ERP report, which provides comparisons of all the different systems in the marketplace as well as other best practices and tips for your ERP and digital transformation initiative. So I hope you found this information useful and have a great day.